Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariyah or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
Volume 8, Book 73, Number 77. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. The Prophet led us in the Zuhr prayer, offering only 2 rakat, and then finished it with taslim, and went to a piece of wood in front of the mosque and put his hand over it. Abu Bakr and Umar were also present among the people on that day, but dared not talk to him about his unfinished prayer. And the hasty people went away, wondering, has the prayer been shortened? Among the people there was a man whom the Prophet used to call Dhul Yardan, the long-armed. He said, O Allah's Prophet, have you forgotten, or has the prayer been shortened? The Prophet said, neither have I forgotten, nor has it been shortened. They, the people, said, surely, you have forgotten, O Allah's Apostle. The Prophet said, Dhul Yardan has told the truth. So the Prophet got up and offered other 2 rakat and finished his prayer with taslim. Then he said takbir, performed a prostration of ordinary duration or longer, then he raised his head and said takbir and performed another prostration of ordinary duration or longer, and then raised his head and said takbir, i.e. he performed the 2 prostrations of sahu, i.e. forgetfulness. Volume 8, Book 73, Number 78. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. Allah's Apostle passed by 2 graves and said, both of them, persons in the grave, are being tortured, and they are not being tortured for a major sin. This one used not to save himself from being soiled with his urine, and the other used to go about with calumnies among the people to rouse hostilities, e.g., one goes to a person and tells him that so and so says about him such and such evil things. The Prophet then asked for a green leaf of a date palm tree, split it into 2 pieces and planted one on each grave, and said, it is hoped that their punishment may be abated till those 2 pieces of the leaf get dried. See Hadith number 215, Volume 1. Volume 8, Book 73, Number 79. Narrated by Abu Asad as-Sa'idi. The Prophet said, the best family among the Ansar is the Banu an-Najjar. Volume 8, Book 73, Number 80. Narrated by Aisha. A man asked permission to enter upon Allah's Apostle. The Prophet said, admit him. What an evil brother of his people or a son of his people. But when the man entered, the Prophet spoke to him in a very polite manner. And when that person left, I said, O Allah's Apostle, you had said what you had said, yet you spoke to him in a very polite manner. The Prophet said, O Aisha, the worst people are those whom the people desert or leave in order to save themselves from their dirty language or from their transgression. Volume 8, Book 73, Number 81. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. Once the Prophet went through the graveyards of Medina and heard the voices of 2 humans who were being tortured in the graves. The Prophet said, they are being punished, but they are not being punished because of a major sin, yet their sins are great. One of them used not to save himself from being soiled with the urine, and the other used to go about with calumnies, namima. Then the Prophet asked for a green palm tree leaf and split it into 2 pieces and placed 1 piece on each grave, saying, I hope that their punishment may be abated as long as these pieces of the leaf are not dried. Volume 8, Book 73, Number 82. Narrated by Hadith. I heard the Prophet saying, "A katat will not enter paradise." Volume 8, Book 73, Number 83. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, "Whoever does not give up false statements, i.e. telling lies, and evil deeds, and speaking bad words to others, Allah is not in need of his fasting, leaving his food and drink." Volume 8, Book 73, Number 84. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, "The worst people in the sight of Allah on the day of resurrection will be the double-faced people who appear to some people with one face and to other people with another face." Volume 8, Book 73, Number 85. Narrated by Ibn Mas'ud. Once Allah's apostle divided and distributed the war booty. An Ansar man said, "By Allah, Muhammad, by this distribution, did not intend to please Allah. So I came to Allah's apostle and informed him about it, whereupon his face became changed with anger and he said, 'May Allah bestow his mercy on Moses, for he was hurt with more than this, yet he remained patient.'" Volume 8, Book 73, Number 86. Narrated by Abu Musa. The Prophet heard a man praising another man and he was exaggerating in his praise. The Prophet said to him, "You have destroyed, or cut, the back of the man." Volume 8, Book 73, Number 87. Narrated by Abu Bakr. A man was mentioned before the Prophet and another man praised him greatly. The Prophet said, "May Allah's mercy be on you. You have cut the neck of your friend." The Prophet repeated this sentence many times and said, "If it is indispensable for any one of you to praise someone, then he should say, 'I think that he is so and so,' if he really thinks that he is such. Allah is the one who will take his accounts, as he knows his reality, and no one can sanctify anybody before Allah." Khalid said, "Woe to you, instead of, Allah's mercy be on you." Volume 8, Book 73, Number 88. Narrated by Salim. That his father said, when Allah's apostle mentioned what he mentioned about the hanging of the Izzah waist sheet, Abu Bakr said, "O Allah's apostle, my Izzah slackens on one side, without my intention." The Prophet said, "You are not among those who, out of pride, drag their Izzahs behind them." Volume 8, Book 73, Number 89. Narrated by Aisha. The Prophet continued for such and such period imagining that he has slept, had sexual relations, with his wives, and in fact he did not. One day he said to me, "O Aisha, Allah has instructed me regarding a matter about which I had asked him. There came to me two men, one of them sat near my feet and the other near my head. The one near my feet asked the one near my head, pointing at me, 'What is wrong with this man?' The latter replied, 'He is under the effect of magic.' The first one asked, 'Who had worked magic on him?' The other replied, 'Lubayd bin Asim.' The first one asked, 'What material did he use?' The other replied, 'The skin of the pollen of a male date tree with a comb and the hair stuck to it, kept under a stone in the well of Darwin. Then the Prophet went to that well and said, "This is the same well which was shown to me in the dream. The tops of its date palm trees look like the heads of the devils, and its water looks like the henna infusion." Then the Prophet ordered that those things be taken out. I said, "O Allah's Apostle, won't you disclose the magic object?" The Prophet said, "Allah has cured me and I hate to circulate the evil among the people." Aisha added, "The magician, Lubayd bin Asim, was a man from Bani Zurayk, an ally of the Jews.